This video is sponsored by Untapped.gg. So what are the best decks in Marvel Snap? Well, that's a question we're going to answer in this video, and we're going to see them in action as well. But I also wanted to teach you how to find the best decks yourself. And thankfully, we've got Untapped.gg with tons of data to solve that very problem, some of which you'll see here behind me. But if you guys don't know Untapped.gg, they're a really big name when it comes to data in card games. I've worked with them and known them forever in the world of Hearthstone. They've also got a really big presence in Magic the Gathering and now have some great resources for Marvel Snap players as well. You will have already seen me pull all of this up on stream numerous times, but they were kind enough to sponsor this video anyway, just out of the kindness of their heart, really, since I already use and promote this site anyway, to give a little closer look at how you can find the best decks on their site. So to kick things off here, you'll see a tier list behind me. This is based on the data from the latest patch, came out just a couple days ago. Already has 120,000 games worth of data, all recorded using the Untapped.gg deck tracker, which you can actually get down in the description below. There's a link down there to download that, so your games can also contribute to the ever-increasing sample size here for data. But this showcases various decks by archetype, and you get an idea for a lot of familiar things here. Serra Control, for instance, that's what I played to Infinite this very season, and a lot of other well-known decks. Patriot, Darkhawks, Doomwave has been gaining a lot of momentum. And, you know, all the way down to tier D or even tier question mark, because these have low data so far, but maybe these are some sleeper decks to keep an eye on in the future. Now, these are archetype views, but what you can actually do is go take a closer look at deck lists themselves and see even more data on a per deck list basis. So they do a good job of clumping it together into these archetypes. But if you want to see the exact list to play, you can look at this view in particular. So I do want to be clear before we get into some of the finer details here that some of this data is only available to paid members for Untapped.gg. They have a basic membership where you can access the decks and get the codes and still see a ranking of decks. But if you want to see exact numbers for things like cubes and win rates and some of the filtering choices that we're going to talk about, those are only going to be available to paid members. Whether or not it's worth it up to you, that's a decision you're gonna have to make, but it can definitely offer an edge. I've been paying for the Hearthstone version of this site for literally, I think, like 8 years at this stage. I find it's worth it. Some people will, others may not. Now, these are the decks for Serra Control specifically, but of course we can remove that and just jump into the entire pool at large. And from here, you've got a lot of tools that you can utilize to filter down to exactly what you're looking for. So let's start here, for instance. This is actually a tool where you can sync your collection to the site and then find decks specifically based on the cards that you own. Now, for me, I have all the cards, so we're not really seeing this in action. But if you want to, you can just look at all decks for cards you have, so you don't have to mess around like looking through deck lists for cards you aren't going to own anyway. So pool 5 stuff, just pull that right out if you don't have it, for instance, and just make sure you're getting exactly what your collection can be suited to. And they even have a nice little bonus here. If you've got like one missing card, for instance, but you think you can replace that, you can still find deck lists that are really close to matching up perfectly with your collection. So next up, there's this really handy time range filter as well. If there's currently a featured or hot location, you can actually see deck lists specific to that location as well. So it's like, I need this edge, you know, during the hot location, I got to climb on Onslaught Citadel. What's the best Onslaught Citadel deck? Where's the awesome ongoing list that's going to give me a nice boost? You can also go for latest patch to make sure you're getting really up-to-date data, or, you know, more generally looking over the last 30 days. This might include some older data, but of course you get a much larger sample size as well, up to 3 million games over the last 30 days. So this can still help you get some great ideas, and this can maybe refine it to see if, say, nerfs or buffs like those that recently hit for Shuri have really changed the meta. You'll note over the last 30 days, we'll see, you know, some Shuri decks doing really well, but as of the latest patch with Shuri's nerf, those decks seem to have fallen off. You can also filter by the pool of the players. So perhaps for a new player, if you don't have a lot of cards to work with yet, you can look at some pool 1 decks that are really good, maybe see what's next in pool 2, what sort of things you should aim for or plan to be playing in the future, and kind of maybe map out your progress as you upgrade your collection level. And then, of course, this is really nice too. You can filter by player ranks, so you can see all of the ranks if you want, or it's like, man, I'm really working on that 90 to 100 climb. I need to see what's good in this specific meta, because some players might be playing different things at different metas, and you'll certainly see the deck list change. So Darkhawk seems to be the best from 90 to 100, but if you go from 50 to 60, it's actually Doomwave instead. So depending on where you're at, you might be able to find the right deck list for that specific bracket. And then finally, we have a lot of sorting tools here, so you can actually sort for like popularity. This is a useful tool to see what you might run into on the ladder. Like, oh, I need to be ready to beat this deck. Even if it's not what I'm playing, I need to understand these cards and realize, okay, this is really popular. I'm going to run into this. I need to realize, oh, they have Devil Dinosaur. That's a threat to be concerned with. You can also sort by either cubes or win rate. So, you know, some decks are going to have really high cube gains and low win rates. So these can be really spiky. You might have to be really smart when playing these, or really courageous with your snapping patterns, which isn't going to be perfect for everybody, but could give you some big spikes on your climb. Alternatively, if you want to go for consistency, perhaps sorting by win rate instead could be more useful. For me, I like to stick to win rate in particular until I've really learned or mastered an archetype, or feel like I really understand the meta well, because you have to have a lot of game knowledge to snap well and play more specifically for cubes, whereas winning games can just be a good reliable start. Now, this is a cool feature too. You can actually lower the threshold for the minimum number of games. If you want really reliable data, of course, you're going to want a higher sample size, but if you want to get kind of spicy and see if you can find some cool off meta decks, something that's like not been played much but has some crazy early data, this might be a way to do that. So you know, like, what is this cool Patriot Super Scroll list? Okay, that's something to keep an eye on. Here's a Jeff deck. He's brand new. Jeff Control with Dr. Doom, Captain Marvel, Negasonic Warhead. I actually think I lost to this deck earlier today, but it's got some crazy cube and win rate numbers early on. Of course, you expect those things to level off, but you might be able to spot some decks that are kind of new and unexpected and ride that wave as they're becoming more popular and more recognized. Oh, and one last thing that's really cool, you can actually search for a specific card as well, which is great for me as a content creator, because it's like earlier today I pulled up the best Jeff deck on stream because I wanted to make a video on Jeff decks. So I searched for Jeff the Baby Landshark, show me decks with Jeff from rank 70 to 100, and boom, this is currently the highest win rate Jeff deck right now. Yes, that even means you can search for Agatha as well. Your results will probably be disappointing, but it's always good to keep an eye out for some potential Agatha decks that might actually be good. So we're going to take a closer look at the best decks here in a second, but real quick before we do, I also wanted to showcase the My Stats page, where you can actually track your own personal stats and your performance across various decks as well. See how things have been doing for you. Sometimes it's better to know how you perform with a deck than the general population. You might realize, oh man, I actually had great results with this Bounce Monkey deck. I need to be playing more Hit Monkey. That deck actually worked really well for me for some reason. So all that said, let's actually take a look at the 3 best decks in Marvel Snap right now across distinct archetypes. We got our data set to latest patch. I'm going to filter 70 to 100. I think that's usually a pretty good range because people at Infinite will fall back to 70 at the start of the season. Might still have some people in that range. And we're going to go for 200 games as our threshold here for win rate. This is kind of the default right now on Untapped, so it's a good spot to start. And what do you know? Our top deck for win rate is Darkhawk Devil Dinosaur. This deck has a couple distinct threats that are both ongoing to support that Mystique, some Moon Girl to make your hand big for your Devil Dinosaurs, and sometimes just play 2 Devil Dinosaurs, 1 on 5 and 1 on 6 can actually be awesome. And believe it or not, Agent Coulson showing up in this list, which I love. This is one that was already pretty good. You know, this has been floating around for a while, but I think gained a lot of ground with the nerf to Shuri. Suddenly things like Devil Dinosaur and Darkhawk are distinctly large threats, some of the biggest threats you can have in Marvel Snap right now reliably. So this deck stands pretty well. That said, let's jump into a game to see this deck in action. All right, so here we go. This is our Dark Dino deck number 1 with a bonus Sabretooth of Camp Lehigh. We love to see Zabu early, of course. Darkhawk and Rockslide both being discounted by Zabu can go a long way. Each of them at 3 in particular, you know, Darkhawk at 3 can weave together nicely with Mystique on turn 6, which is cool. These Camp Leahighs also can keep our hand a little fuller for Devil Dinosaur, which is nice. So we might really just be able to go something like Dino on 5 and then maybe Darkhawk Mystique on 6, some combination thereof. Coulson's also going to give us some options too at the 4 cost spot. So that could help. Ooh, we don't really need to play for Raft. It's kind of hard for us. We don't have a lot of low cost cards. If we had like Korg and Quinjet in hand, maybe, but Coulson's going to fill me up with a 4 and a 5. So we kind of know exactly where our hand is going from a size standpoint, or from a cost standpoint, let's say. So we'll just stick to the plan here. Super Scroll. Oh my gosh, that could be fun. Raft again. Super Scroll with Scorpion, and then this Vulture's of course off their Camp Lehigh. So this doesn't tell us a lot if Scroll's gonna be useful. In theory, I think a Moon Girl just into another dinosaur is actually the play, and then we just play 2 dinosaurs probably. Dinosaur might be worse than Mystique depending on what they play on 6. We might be like Mystique, Shang-Chi, Mystique, Super Scroll, or whatever. We'll have to see their line. Wong with Scorpions. This might be like a Dr. Doom incoming there. For now, the Devil Dino is absolutely the play. I could go Super Scroll into that Wong, but I don't have any on reveals to support that. I guess we do have Dr. Doom, but he's not coming on time to get the Super Scroll in there. Oh, Black Panther. So this might be a Artem Zola finish here, which we are revealing first. So Shang-Chi here. We are barely revealing first. 18-7 versus 16-3 for the reveal order there. So this Shang-Chi very likely here to wipe out the Black Panther in time. We might get debated into something else like a Dr. Doom that kind of ruins this for us, but I think we're looking okay here. We'll go Rockslide left just to shore that up just in case, but oh, the opponent is snapped. Let's go. Bring it. We'll go for 8. I don't care. I love it. I love it. Zero fear. What a game. What a highlight. First try. That's Arnim Zola for sure. You can see how important Shang-Chi is in basically every deck. Wow, dude. 8 cubes, best deck in the game confirmed. Absolutely confirmed. And we really didn't do anything crazy here, as you saw, but we did see Zabu's importance getting that rock slide in. We saw how good Devil Dino can be just carrying a location all on its own. We saw Moon Girl keeping the hand a little full alongside Coulson, so yeah, great showcase of the #1 deck. Now I did want to show you guys one cool thing here real quick. I'm gonna change screens. One really nice thing you can do with the Untapped tracker if you're playing on PC is there's this button over here. #1, you can see the cards your opponent played to keep an eye of what they're going. It also shows you like discard or destroyed cards, which can be relevant for things like Null, or for Hela for discards, but also you can view similar decks on Untapped and it will showcase you decks that look like your opponent's deck based on the cards that you saw. So we saw previously, you know, this filter that allowed us to select certain cards. So it looks like this is probably the deck that the opponent was playing based on what we saw. So, you know, they could have maybe pivoted into Dr. Doom and still perhaps won that game. If they wanted to. I don't know if they would have. We might have still won mid and right in that case, but you know, this can give you an idea like next time, okay, I need to be ready for Dr. Doom or maybe a White Tiger instead. Maybe it's not always Artem Zola if this is indeed the deck they're playing. All right, so moving on to our next deck. As you can see, we've got a few different variations of the Darkhawk lists here. Just swapping out a card here or there. This one's got a Sentinel in there, which can help keep your hand full for Devil Dinosaur instead of the Agent Coulson. This one's got no Dr. Doom, so less wide board support, but still going really tall. You know, this one's got a Chavez in there to increase the consistency of your draw early. And then our next distinct archetype here is Discard. And I love playing MODOK decks. These always feel really fun to play. Big Dracula Apocalypse lines. Morbius can get huge. So I'm really excited to see this one in action. I think I'll have a lot to say about Discard here. Our number 2 deck. Okay, so we've got Discard. We got MODOK in hand, which I love. MODOK makes this deck really strong because you have a super reliable discard. If you have MODOK Apocalypse in hand in this deck, I think you know, you're good to go. You're off to the races, basically. The MODOK does mean the Hellcow here is a little bit unnecessary. We don't really need it, probably, because we're going to be relying instead on the MODOK. Boy, I sure do want to play this Swordmaster now, though. Since I have both MODOK and Hellcow, I can probably get away with it. Obviously, Swarm is the high roll here, but yeah, if we hit Swarm, we could even play for Raft, which is kind of cool. 1 and 3? I don't know. This is a little overkill if we don't hit the Swarm. Oh, wait. Okay, that's interesting. I'd rather lose Hellcow than MODOK, so yeah, maybe we'll call that a small victory. I don't know. That's decent. Yeah, let's play the MODOK now while we can. We lose a potential Apocalypse, but it allows me to maybe play a Dracula off the top next turn. Although I guess Dracula's not that good without an APOC in hand. Either way, this is totally fine. Enough said, bub. That's a little overkill left, perhaps. Okay, so just Electro Ramp, not anything too scary. So we're always drawing Chavez off the top here. I guess we just do this, though, to... This still buffs the Morbius. It's better than playing the Chavez. We also get something off Raft as well. They're likely to play an Odin here at some point, so they're going to be at like 16. I will be at 18 plus 2, 20, so they'd have to commit yet another card. I want to play these before a potential Sandman comes down this turn, though, so I don't want to wait. So I want to get Raft and play around Sandman. Sunspot's going to get really big as well, by the way, because we're going to pass turn 6, right? We're just going to play one thing off Raft and then Chavez. Well, I think we're set up pretty well here. Onslaughts would have been really cool on Morbius, but still fine. Oh, Devil Dino. Oh, that's big. That's too big. Oh. That does mean now we just need to beat perhaps Odin, which would put this at 10. We'd be at 16, assuming Danger Room doesn't screw me. There could maybe be a play with something like Arrow. If they play Arrow like left, though, or something, then that's fine. Dracula would still beat the Doombot in that case, so that should be okay. Let's just hope Danger Room doesn't screw me here for the Odin right. It's Arrow left? Oh, Magneto left. Oh, okay. That's also currently fine as long as Danger Room. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. I forgot Morbius gets us 1 point closer there too. Man, we almost stole right back. Dang. The Devil Dino lost 2 and Morbius gained 2. Almost flipped it back. All right, that's a cool game. Not exactly like to plan necessarily, but still got to see some stuff in action. Maybe not the big APOC, but pretty fun game. Showcasing some of the value of Sunspot Dracula in particular on that final turn is a cool combo to see for sure. All right, so moving on to our third deck here in a new archetype. It's actually Spectrum Destroyer. This is really cool because this is an OG deck. This one has been around for a long time. An archetype that was really, really good in past Marvel Snap metas, had kind of been eclipsed by new and strong and crazy cards over the last 5-6 months or so. Really in like the kind of beta early access range is when this one did its best work, but it's apparently decent nowadays. It's back. It's in the top 3 spots right now. Again, with some recent nerfs and powers lowering elsewhere, this deck comes back and starts to make more sense. So this is going to be a flash from the past for me. I'm really excited to give this one a go. Ooh, Onslaught Citadel is really nice for our ongoing deck. That's super cool to see. Yondu Professor X, okay, sure. Lizard you don't want going in Onslaught Citadel, of course. That is not the ongoing effect you want to duplicate. So we do have Iron Man in particular for Citadel. That alone is enough to carry. So we might want to just say, I don't even know if I needed the Ant-Man, to be honest. But we probably want to get a lot of power going in a separate spot. Actually, this is better here. It's 4 power mid. So yeah, we'll make mid really big. And then Iron Man left will be a nice play. Hey, we believe Mr. Fantastic. Well, you know, yours is buff though. That's not fair. You're cheating. Yeah, Colossus, unfortunately, a little off curve. I would have preferred a Warpath, Cosmo, Captain America type thing. It's fine though that we have at least something to put in. And he's buffed, which is cool. So this feels like Iron Man left and Spectrum mid. I guess Spectrum right is also fine if that makes more sense, depending on where the opponent's power has been deposited. I'm only really going mid here because we already committed it a little bit with the Lizard. That said, they've also committed 2 cards mid, so will we be able to outscale them or not? Mr. Fantastic also putting in mid though too, so I guess mid's definitely the right spot. So that makes Spectrum right look worse. Oh, they're already full on mid. Oh, okay, so mid is definitely ours. That's no problem at all. We are gonna own mid. And we should own left as long as they don't have, you know, some kind of Enchantress play, which I wouldn't expect if they're using this. Now, we're not going to snap. Oh, they're going to snap. I would normally snap here on ladder, but I want to see this game show you guys the cool deck doing the cool thing, right? So we're not going to snap here. I don't think they're going to be ready for the Spectrum. That said, they might have something like a Kazar in this deck. This kind of looks like an ongoing zoo, so we might need to be mindful of like these two getting buffed, or maybe even a Blue Marvel. Like, could they add maybe +8 here, right? With the Blue Marvel left, it would add +8. So do we beat 19? Yeah, we beat 19. We're into 17 +4, so 21. Yeah, I think that would be fine, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I think we do. Onslaught is the same for the Mr. Fantastic. Not what I expected, but the same. Yeah, okay. Dang, dude, the Iron Man was like barely big enough. They got huge, dude. The Captain America scaled this up really hard. Not quite an Iron Man level, but close, dude. We won by, oh, I forgot to count for the -1 for Spectrum. It was actually 20-19, not 21-19. Still big enough, but dang, dude. Colossus coming in clutch, not having his power reduced here. That was a big deal. Okay, yeah, scary game, dude. Scary game. We actually might have been better off Colossus Spectrum right, but hard to know. The Mr. Fantastic contributing power here felt important. So yeah, that was cool, man. That was not even a great curve necessarily, but still a game plan that worked out just fine. So folks, those were the 3 best individual deck lists on Untapped.gg. Now, I do want to issue a disclaimer as always. This is a really fresh meta. We've only got a couple days worth of data. You know, the sample sizes aren't huge yet, so, you know, these could be outliers. These could kind of regress to the mean a little bit in regards to win rate. So these felt like good decks. They seem to have some great supporting data early, but do keep in mind that this is updating all the time, and as more data comes in, we're only going to get better, more reliable results. So I would encourage you to just go check out this page yourself and see what the next 3 decks are for you using your collection at your rank and, you know, at a data threshold that feels good for you in regards to reliability, because it's definitely going to feel different if you go up here to 1,000 games. These are the decks that are probably more proven deck lists that you know work to some extent. Maybe they don't have the best numbers, but they're going to be proven and predictable for you. And as you'll see, these all look like pretty darn good decks. So that said, of course, check all the links down in the description. I'm going to have links to Untapped down there to check out the website. I'm going to have links to the deck tracker if you want to use that as well. As you saw me using it, it can be really helpful in games. Thank you again to Untapped.gg for sponsoring this video. They absolutely don't have to do that, but they're supporting all kinds of different initiatives across the Marvel Snap content space, doing things like sponsoring tournaments as well. So they've been great for the community, and appreciate them paying for this video when they just don't have to, because I already showcase them all the time anyway for free. So very cool of them to do their best to help us out. So appreciate you guys joining me for this video. Would encourage you to check out the site. I think there's a lot to learn and a lot to discover. That said, thanks much for watching, and until next time, game on.